passing. This year we celebrate those who survive.
And why they continue to lead productive lives.
Every year, our list grows longer as hope turns into reality.
We are inspired by their accomplishment.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President and Chief Executive Officer of the Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America, Stephen Newbold.
Well, good morning. What a terrific video, and that's just a handful of the millions of Americans who are surviving today. But before we get started, I want to recognize, we just came from a We Work for Health breakfast, recognizing people in local communities across America that go above and beyond their day job and really engage with their friends and neighbors about the issues that we care about. And it's just the embodiment of all politics are local. And if you step back, the discussion that we're having around drug pricing, healthcare costs, it's a national conversation. So we need everybody engaged. So I want to recognize all of the folks that we recognized this morning for We Work for Health champions. Let's have a round of applause as we see that. There's such a reminder that it's such an exciting time. I want to start this morning just by welcoming everyone, especially our friends in the stakeholder community, from the patient, provider, labor, and advocacy communities. We're delighted you're here with us this morning. It's such a great time to be leading this association, and such an important time for the industry. Biopharmaceutical innovation has been such an incredible growth, such an incredible engine in both public health gains as well as economic growth. Over the past 20 years, life expectancy is up by more than 5 years. Death rates from costly and debilitating diseases like heart disease, HIV/AIDS, stroke, and hepatitis C have plummeted. The benefits to society have been profound, including avoiding other healthcare costs and driving productivity gains. And while I was excited to join the industry, I'm even more energized after spending time on the road visiting with you, our member companies, meeting with company leadership, talking with scientists who are doing the hard work on developing medicines, and hearing from the patients who benefit. Let me give you a couple of examples. When I was at BMS, I met a patient named Dina. Dina was diagnosed with stage 4 mucosal melanoma 6 years ago. Her surgeon said there was no clear blueprint for what to do next. But Dina was given 2 experimental immune-based therapies from BMS, and today she's cancer-free. She told me about the stunned look on our oncologist's face when he said in 30 years of practice he'd never seen anything like it. The cancer throughout her body was completely gone. And then there's a scientist at Eli Lilly, Otis. He's a chemist. And he says he thinks about patients every morning when he gets ready for work. especially one, his grandmother, whom he calls his #1 customer. The complexity of manufacturing life-saving medicine in a football field-sized refrigerated clean room is a sight to behold. Otis's work is personal for him, and it's personal for me too. As many of you know, my son Chris was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes about a year ago. I have to say, even though I've spent the bulk of my career in life sciences and I felt like I was close to the patient perspective, I really didn't have a clue what it was like to really live with somebody who was grappling with a chronic condition, navigating the healthcare system and dealing with the day-to-day challenges. As many of you know, type 1 is a challenging disease, especially for kids. It demands constant vigilance and a sense of discipline. I don't know how many of you have preteens at home, but those are not high on the list traits for most adolescents. And as grateful as I am for the treatments that Chris has available to him, insulin, remote monitoring technologies, and so forth, I'm really excited about what the future holds. You know, we have the promise of smart insulin, where you could replace 4 or 5 shots a day with 1, or hopefully someday replacing the function of the pancreas through beta cell replacement therapy. And really across a range of conditions, the future has never been brighter. You know, it's just a quick aside. After the Eli Lilly tour, I was talking to my son Chris, and I said, you know, they take E. coli bacteria and they distill it to a life-changing medicine. And he looked at me quizzically, and I sort of looked back and I said, Chris, do you know what E. coli is? He said, yeah, Dad, I eat at Chipotle. Okay? Not good for the Chipotle folks in the crowd, but all right. So I truly do believe we're on the cusp of a golden era of discovery as we learn more about human biology, as we further decode the human genome, and we further harness the power of big data. There's an enormous opportunity to make progress against diseases like Alzheimer's, diabetes, hypertension, and others. And lawmakers from across the political spectrum understand what's at stake and want to seize the opportunity in front of us. President Obama has launched the Personalized Medicine, Brain, and Cancer Moonshot initiatives. In the House, Fred Upton has launched the 21st Century Cures Initiative with his colleague Dinah DeGette, and Senators Alexander and Murray have launched the Healthier Americans Initiative. There isn't much today that brings people together in Washington, but everyone has a shared interest in supporting the innovation ecosystem. After all, we all want to live longer, healthier lives. But we shouldn't take progress for granted. For a moonshot to work, the rocket has to have enough fuel. Our fuel is sustained investment in innovation. As many of you know, I spent the last 10 years leading the association representing medical technology companies and diagnostics manufacturers. And I saw investment in startup companies literally fall off a cliff, down 72% over the past 5 years. Why? Concerns over lengthening FDA review times, questions about whether new technologies would be reimbursed by the Medicare program, and an increasingly uncompetitive tax system. At the end of the day, nothing chills investment like uncertainty. Last September, we saw how a single tweet from a presidential candidate about drug pricing policy led to a $132 billion drop in market cap for the industry. That's why I'm concerned about the drug pricing debate. As we all know, the debate is largely myopic and misinformed. It's myopic because it focuses on a relatively small and stable share of healthcare spending and not the true cost driver of chronic disease, which is 80% of US healthcare spending. And we all know the majority of those costs are borne in institutional settings like hospitals, skilled nursing facilities, physician office visits, and our products stand the best chance of ameliorating those costs. The debate also ignores the value our products bring to patients, the healthcare system, and the broader economy. New cures for hepatitis C help patients avoid costly complications from liver disease or costly liver transplants. Well, you wouldn't know it from the headlines. The value is barely a footnote in these stories. And the debate is misinformed because it focuses on list prices and ignores increasingly consolidated and sophisticated purchasers with enormous marketplace leverage. Because of this dynamic, government actuaries predict drug spending will level off after an anomalous 2014 that had seen record FDA approvals, a Medicaid expansion, and new treatment that cured 90% of treated Hep C patients. And now that's playing out in the marketplace. CVS recently announced that they're seeing actual spending growth for medicines decreased significantly from 2014 to 2015. And yet critics are basing all of their policy solutions on the anomaly, the spike, not the long-term trend. For example, proposals to allow Medicare to negotiate prices for prescription drugs. This ignores the fact that there already is robust negotiation in the Part B program between large, powerful purchasers and our companies. CBO directors of both political parties have said this won't save any additional money unless you create a national formulary or restrict access to medicines. We've also seen proposals to allow patients to import medicines from other countries, even though FDA commissioners of both parties have said it would put the health and safety of Americans in jeopardy. And just this week, CMS announced a sweeping new proposal to radically change payment to physicians for complex conditions like cancer. This proposal would apply to the vast majority of the country, violating the definition of a demonstration and the spirit of the authority outlined in the statute. It would usher in a new era of government deciding what seniors can get. We believe these are the wrong ways to solve the healthcare cost problem, and no one should doubt our resolve to fight price controls in whatever shape they may take. We know from experience, whether it's the VA or European health systems, mandating prices leads to reduced access and choice for patients. I believe there's a right way to address these problems. I want my tenure to be marked by constructive engagement with all stakeholders, including our critics. I want us to be known for putting forth practical pro-consumer policies that enhance the private market and reduce costs holistically. So today, we're issuing our policy solutions for delivering innovative treatments to patients. These are 4 common sense proposals designed to drive the discussion. First, we need to modernize the FDA. It still takes too long, costs too much to develop a medicine, test it, and get it to patients. Modernizing the FDA will help get medicines to the market faster, which will enhance competition and hold down costs for payers and consumers. Some examples are seen in new approaches like clinical trial design, patient-centered drug development, harnessing real-world evidence, and clearing the backlog of generic drugs. Second, we need to move towards value-based healthcare. But as Ken talked about yesterday, barriers exist that make it harder for companies to enter into these types of arrangements. In order for our companies to become partners rather than simply vendors, we need to be able to communicate with payers about the performance of our products, such as the ability to reduce hospital readmissions that could form the basis of an outcomes-based payment arrangement. We need to overhaul the OIG statute, which was built for a fee-for-service world, not the risk-based environment that we're moving towards. Removing these barriers will promote efficiency, affordability, and ensure that the right drug is getting to the right patient at the right time. Third, we need to engage and empower consumers. We need to acknowledge that some patients may be paying more for their health care, and that's largely because the insurance market is changing. Patients are facing high deductible plans, more restrictive formularies, and higher cost sharing to access their medicines. We need common sense solutions that empower consumers with more information on out-of-pocket costs and quality, and common sense rules to prevent discrimination. At the end of the day, a well-informed consumer is an engaged and empowered patient. These steps will improve coverage and access and help make medicines more affordable for patients. And finally, we must address existing market-distorting policies like the 340B program. The market-based U.S. healthcare system has worked well over time, but more can be done to help the market work better. Addressing distortions in the market, like the rapidly growing 340B program, will help preserve the safety net, revive the healthcare marketplace, and improve affordable access to medicines for patients. These reforms can lower costs the right way. They also work to make sure the patient is at the center of every decision, from drug approval to payment to the pharmacy. In closing, let me again say how excited I am to be working with all of you. In short, I want PhRMA to go on offense, drive the discussion. We'll help ensure that tomorrow's patients benefit from today's investments and hard work. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen.